Hi everyone, I hope you're having a good day today. This is your daily reading for Tuesday, April 23rd, 2019. I hope you've enjoyed your week so far, and if you liked the pick a card yesterday, let me know what you think of those pick a cards, or don't, it's really up to you. I just like knowing that these readings are helping people and that someone out there is getting something of benefit out of this, that it's actually doing something for someone and guiding people in the right direction. Today, I want to do something a little bit different. I'm going to be using our trusty four decks, the Sacred Oracle Rebel, the Chicoli deck, the Witches Tarot or Tarot of the Witches. I never remember which one. And the Gilded Tarot. But today, I wanted to look at something a little bit less local, less today, and more about your past. So I want to do a past life reading. In this reading, we're going to use the Sacred Rebel Oracle to ask for any overall messages or any kind of overall energy that kind of guided you through your past life. Then we're going to look at your spiritual journey, your relationships in your past life that may have been significant enough to travel with you to this one. And then we're going to look at any messages you need to take with you throughout this current life cycle. Okay, so let's get started. So, what is the energy for whoever this reading is meant for concerning their past life, their past self? What is the overall energy or message that they need to hear about their past life and past self? What just jumped? Come here. Sorry, guys. Faith in the process. I'm going to keep shuffling because I feel like that popped out a little bit too soon, and is in part because of just my butterfingers. So, what is the message concerning the past life of whoever this reading is meant for? What is the message or overall energy that they need to know, that they need to understand about their past life so that they can do better or heal in this life? What is the overall message they need to know and understand about their past life for whoever this reading is meant to reach and guide? Please and thank you. You have Sacred Fool. I'm going to pull two, and Against the Grain. Okay, so I can tell that you in your past life were someone who kind of just did your own thing. You're probably still very much a free spirit, or in this life you did the opposite, where you're much more type A, much more like clenched to yourself, because in your past you were just very open and you didn't really know where things were going to go. You didn't really know how things were going to play out, but you did know that you were doing what was right for you. You're very headstrong with this four in both of these. So you were a very headstrong person. You were very just like, I know exactly what I need to do and I'm going to do it and I don't care who's mad at me about it. That could have been good or bad, who knows? But like you absolutely like at that time, you may not have known who you were, but you knew what you wanted to do. You knew, what kind of life you were trying to pursue, and you did take the steps to try to pursue that. It's possible you were kind of in controlled, I should say, as in there was someone who may have been pulling the strings, so to speak, someone who was like trying to push you in one direction or another, whether, depending on how old you are, this could have been 50 years ago and you were like forced to work for somebody, or like put into theater or put into some job that wasn't really what you wanted, but you had no choice. If it was further back, you could have been someone's rebellious slave. You could have been an escapee of some sort. Whatever it is, I feel like that you were kind of under the thumb of someone else, and you weren't really crazy about that, because then we have Against the Grain. So you were just like, no, like, you want to control me, but I'm not going to let you. Whatever it was, you're very rebellious. You're very pushy about what you wanted and what you believed in and who you thought you were going to be. Okay, so that's kind of your energy for your past life. I think that's like just the personality reading. Like, you were just very rebellious. You did your own thing. You went your own way. Good or bad, you knew what was right for your soul. You kind of followed your soul's guiding, even if like the things around you, even if society or the grain, even if society was like, that's not who you're supposed to be, that's not what you're supposed to do, it's not the life you're supposed to live. That was you in your past life. Whether that's you now, I don't know, but that was definitely like your energy before you were in this life cycle. You were very rebellious. You didn't need to do what everybody else was doing. You went your own way. You did your own thing. You pulled away from authority. You probably still have some issues with authority in this life. So you were just kind of like, yeah, you're just rebellious. So let's see what your spiritual journey was like in your past life. So for whoever this reading is meant for, in their past life, their past incarnation, most recent incarnation, what was their spiritual journey? What spiritual journey were they taken on? Did they experience or grow through or have still to learn through in this life? What spiritual journey was it that they had in their past life? For whoever this reading is meant for, whoever this reading is meant to help and guide and reach on this day. Please tell me, what spiritual energy, what spiritual journey did they go on in their past life? Please, from my higher self to theirs, from theirs to mine, their spiritual being, send us messages now. What was their journey in that life? Before now. Thank you. We have the Emperor. So there was like some kind of power control. Maybe you were in control or someone else. And we have the Knight of Swords, or not Knight, the Page of Swords. Okay, so like again, you had some. How do I explain? You're very big on your thoughts. You had a lot to say. You had a lot of opinions. Maybe the Five of Coins. You maybe weren't very successful or very like joyful. You may not even have felt very spiritually connected. You might have been or opposite. You may not have felt very financially connected, but you were more spiritually connected. You might have been like a monk or like some sort of religious being, because then we have the Eight of Wands. So you were kind of already kind of trying to connect to higher spirits, trying to connect to things that nobody else kind of accepted. And then we have the Devil. Oh, maybe you were a witch. Devil doesn't. I hate the idea that there's that connection, but there is that connection. So you were kind of tempted towards doing things that society wasn't into, that they didn't really care about. And then you have the Nine of Swords. So that's enough. That's probably enough. So I think with this journey that we have here, we have Emperor, the Page of Swords, Five of Coins, Eight of Wands, the Devil, and the Nine of Swords. So with the Nine of Swords, I do think that maybe by the end of your experience, you weren't very sure of who you were. It's possible even that you were hiding or afraid, or like that you thought someone was after you or someone actually was after you. Maybe that someone came and took something from you. I'm actually going to pull another card. Give me another one. And we have the Ace of Coins. Okay, so I think towards after this Nine of Swords incident, whatever that was, I think that's when you passed on, because then you have the Ace of Coins, which is like, I'm getting that there's like this idea of rebirth, of like coming through a womb. And even like with this image, I always think that she looks like a pregnant lemon. Look at her. She looks like a pregnant lemon. So like in my head, it just, even though like coins are very positive, because the pregnant lemon, I think I don't love lemons. I think they're sour and gross, and I hate the taste of lemon. So it just kind of makes me think you may have gone through some kind of unpleasant rebirth, some sort of like the end wasn't necessarily all that positive for you. You were suffering, and it's possible that you were practicing something spiritual. And you did, there were like issues with authority for you, but you tried, you tried to be honest, you tried to be open, you're very open about your opinions, about your feelings, about your experiences, before your time, because I feel like this is an older time. I think especially when that Emperor came out, it just felt like this is something like 1700s, 1600s, like this was long before people like, I don't know. It may have even been longer. It's just long before people were very open to things the way we are now. Other religions, other beliefs, other thought processes. And you, even if you were of the mainstream religion at that time, which I'm not getting that you necessarily weren't. I am thinking though that at the very least you were more outspoken against authority, more outspoken against like the people in charge and the people who were doing harm. And I do think that whoever you are in your past life, you were a light worker. You were someone who really wanted to make the world a better place, and fight for the righteousness, fight for good people, fight for healing people. And that caused you a lot of struggle. That caused you a lot of trouble, and maybe even like some financial issues. Like maybe you did not have, come here, don't fall, stay in my hands. You didn't have like a huge financial backing. You weren't like one of the Catholic priests. You weren't in that position where you could really do a lot. And I don't know for sure if that was intentional or not. Like if it's you wanted more finances, but it never came to you, or if um, you were one of those spiritual people who believed that material goods, that having more than the bare minimum of what you absolutely need would have been too much, wouldn't have been right for your soul. And so, for whatever reason, though, you were kind of in this place of perpetual poverty. Um, Even so, though, I do think that you were really on the right track spiritually. I think you were already starting to connect with things. If you're in this life now and you're feeling either like you've lost something or like there was a connection that that you needed or that you needed to pursue in this life, where you feel like you came to this life and you found yourself to this spiritual path, and it wasn't something that you actively or ever even really thought would happen. That's what happens with a lot of us, is that the spiritual path just kind of calls us. And I think that's because in our past lives we were already on our way. We were already pretty close to where we are now. And I think with you, you were really like, look at her, she's so meditative. You were really looking for some sort of spiritual connection. You were looking for your higher self, for your higher guides. You were connecting with other people spiritually. You were trying to share that, which I love. But then something happened. Something happened, and either you went dark side, like you did something that you wouldn't have done before, because I do feel like this is such a positive spiritual energy, or someone else came and hurt you, or they hurt someone you loved, and it really really upset you. And I think that you kind of were frightened or worried. And it's possible, even because I am feeling, if you were a witch at this time, and this was at a time when witches were prosecuted. I mean, witches are still prosecuted, but not as much. But there was a time when it was fully illegal, like everywhere you went, and punishable by death. And I think that's kind of what situation you might have been in. I think this might have, because I keep hearing that you were accused of being a witch. Not necessarily that you were actually working with any devil or anything, or you did anything bad, but you were accused of being a witch. And because of that, you had to kind of go into hiding, you had to run. And I think, like I said with this lemon, I think this was the end of the line for you. I think they caught you, and you had to go through some sort of unpleasant rebirth. And I think that was, death into a new life. And I don't think your death was very easy, unfortunately. But the life that you had before spiritually was someone trying very hard to improve the world through spiritual practice. So you might even find that that's something you're doing today, that you're doing now. You might still find that you have that light worker kind of energy in your spirit, because that doesn't usually leave. Like that's someone who is just beginning to start their spiritual growth. Like we have all these like butterflies, we have these white butterflies. Okay, so that's a symbol of change. That's a symbol of, I'm trying to hold these without dropping them, but it's like making the angle weird. That's a symbol of transformation, of metamorphosis. So you were already going through the spiritual journey, the spiritual change, long before you ever got to this point where people were accusing you of being a witch, or people were accusing you of doing something that I don't think you were doing. I think you were spiritually enlightened. You may not have been all that in love with authority, but I already got that from the sacred fool, so like no surprise there. And again, this is another four. It's telling me, you were destined, I think, or you were on the path to being a spiritual leader, but somebody didn't like that. Somebody was like, heck no, like you're not gonna come in here and convert my people. You're not gonna come in here and teach your beliefs. And I do think whatever it was, your beliefs, they were based in some sort of purity. They were based in goodness. They were based in healing. That was not greedy. You were not like a greedy person. You were not trying to just be in power just for the sake of it. You really were trying to spiritually connect with other beings or with other people, but the society at the time just was not into that. Okay, so that is your spiritual journey. Let's look at your relationships from your past life. For whoever this reading is meant for, please tell us about the relationships that followed them through their past life, that may have followed them now. Again, we had another Ace of Coins. So whatever, it's either someone who I'm gonna keep shuffling, but I'm just getting like, because we had these two Ace of Coins and I had like the birth thing, and then I'm asking about the relationships. It's possible that the person who killed you or led to your death is still, their soul is still in your life now, like in this life. So be aware of that. Let's see. Concerning the relationships for whoever this reading is meant for in their past life, please tell us what relationships may have followed them through their past life. What relationships affected them most and had the biggest connection or had the biggest impact on their soul in their past life. Please tell us about the relationships held by whoever this reading is meant to reach and guide for their past life, from their higher self, from their past selves, from their ancestors and those who watch over them, through mine, through to these cards. Please tell us about the relationships held or affecting, held by or affecting or influencing the person in their past life that may have followed them through to this life. Please and thank you. Whoa, okay, so the Lovers just like literally jumped out. I was just about to be done shuffling and it was like, hey, look at me. So again, like you got the Lovers, and I was feeling like the person who may have affected your death or led to your death might have been a lover, and then this pops out. So we're gonna keep that in mind. And then we have the Six of Wands, the Queen of Wands, the Chariot, and the Wheel of Fortune, and Ten of Cups. And then Three of Wands after that. But that I'm going to leave here. So, your relationships, I think, were mostly positive, and I think, you know, we have, because we have this ten of Cups at the end, and that's a very positive card, but I do think maybe whatever that love you had with the Lovers, it did come to an end, and I don't think that end was necessarily easy for you, because then so let's see, how am I going to look at this? Let's just go for it. Then we have the Lovers, which is the 6th card, and then you have the 6 of Wands. So the person you were in love with, or the person that was in love with you, they may have been obsessed with you, they may have been crazy about you, they may have also been in a position of power, which is, I guess, I don't know if ironic is the right word. It's interesting because you had so many issues with authority, but the person that you kind of loved, I think they were someone who was in a position of power. They were someone that like got a lot of accolades, got a lot of popularity. People loved them, or at least people, you know, listened to them, and they loved you, or they were in love with you. And then you got the Queen of Wands, and I think that, you know, with the Queen of Wands, this is, I feel like this is their energy. Part of me thinks it might be yours because the Queen of Wands is she's a doing person. She's very active. She's very she's kind of at the ready. Like if she needs to use her wand, she's gonna. If she needs to hit you in the head to get you to understand what she's saying, she's gonna do it. But I feel like also this could be the other person instead of representing you, because I think that this person was in a position of authority. I think they had a lot of power, and they held that power very tightly. They were very willful. They had a lot of control over the events that happened in their life. They had a lot of control over you and the events that happened in your life. So again, I think we go back to that sacred fool imagery of someone pulling strings, someone running things. So they may have been in love with you, they may have been crazy about you, or you may have loved them, but the power dynamic was off. It was out of balance because they tended to take control. They tended to tell you what to do. They tended to tell you where to go, how to live your life, exactly what things should be. And then something changed. Whatever, like, so we have 2 6s to start and 2 10s to end. Okay, so something drastically changed where you, at first, I think you were kind of comfortable with it. It was like either you lived together or you were in their home or near their home or something. Because I think there's that poverty imagery. So going back to that, it is possible that you left them because they had too much, because they were too much in control. They had too much power, too much financial like strength, like too much money, too much stuff, and you weren't feeling that was spiritually in connection with who you were. So you ended up like just changing it, and it was a surprise. It wasn't like something you'd planned. It was just one day you realized this has to go. Like, I have to leave. I can't be with this person. I can't let someone else like guide my life, tell me how to live my life, who I'm supposed to be, what I'm supposed to eat, what I'm supposed to wear, how I'm supposed to live. Like, you had to break yourself away from that and free yourself. And then when you freed yourself, you were happier. I think you found happier relationships, at least for a while. I don't think it sucks to say, and just I feel like not long after you left this person is when things ended for you. And that is kind of scary to think about, because I do think that this person is still in your life. And then we have the 3 of Wands. So until I think that you worked really, really hard to break yourself away from this person, but spiritually, I think you're still connected to them. I think there's still some sort of tie between the 2 of you, and they're still following you into this life. And as long as they do that, there are going to be some things that are unstable for you, that are that are not quite what you wanted. And I think when you were able to break away, when you were able to leave that non-love behind, that's when you were able to find a true love for yourself. Whether that was like self-love, or whether that was another person that you fell in love with, whatever it is, you were able to find more positivity and more peace towards the end of your days, regardless of how it may have ended. You were definitely able to, you did the work, and you had pleasure in doing the work to get away from this person, meaning even though it was tough, you were very, very happy to be free when you were free, despite how much love there may have been between the 2 of you. And again, I can't tell if this is love on your side or love on their side, like, or obsession, you know. But you guys, I think you guys were connected. I think you did care at some point, and it just kind of spiraled and got worse, and they were just so in control of you. And then one day you were just like, nope, no more. I have to change. Things are going the way they don't need to be going, and it's time. It is time for me to change my path. And you did, and you found some positivity, even though, you know, I think it did come to an end not long after that. And last but not least, let's look at any messages you have for this life from your past life. What are the messages this person needs to hear concerning their current life and connecting to their past life? What are the messages from the past life of whoever this reading is meant to reach and help and guide, that they need to know in this life, that they need to help guide them, to help break karmic ties that don't need to be there, to help heal any sort of karmic spiritual wounds from their higher self to ours? What messages do they need to know? So many cards have just jumped out today. We have the World that just jumped into my hand. So I'm going to keep shuffling, but keep that in mind. What are the messages from their past life, their past selves, that they need to know now to help guide them through this life, to help them heal karmic wounds or cut ties that no longer need be there? please and thank you from their higher self, their ancestors, to mine through these cards. Please and thank you. You got the Nine of Cups. Then you got the Nine of Swords. You got the Empress. You got the Lovers again. Then you got the Two of Swords. And the Knight of Pentacles. Interesting. And then after that is the Queen of Pentacles. Okay. So, you got it's a very positive reading. It's super positive, but I do think that underneath your positivity there is still some worry for you. So you got the Nine of Cups. There's a lot of love here for you. There's a lot of abundance in this life that you brought with you. You had that Ten of Cups at the end of your past life relationship reading, and then you had Nine of Swords at the end of your spiritual reading. And so then we have Nine of Cups and Nine of Swords are the first two cards that come out when I ask about this life. So I think, you're still dealing with maybe some anxiety, maybe some fear, maybe there are wounds that have caused phobias or like triggers within you that you don't really know where they came from. Like you respond to things in a way that implies some sort of trauma, but you've never lived that trauma in this life. You might be still dealing with some past life trauma, some past life pain. But in this life, you've come into a place where there is a lot of abundance for you. There's a lot of love, a lot of possibilities, a lot of just opportunity to share love, and an opportunity to just be abundant, be joyful, be happy, and be loved. There is the possibility, there's that fear possible that someone out there might be in the shadows trying to take that from you, or even stalking you. I don't want to say stalking you, but like that's just what popped into my head. There's someone out there who kind of wants your love. They want your abundance. They want your success. And whether they want that in a selfish way or they want it for you and to share it with you, it's not entirely clear. But I think you personally still have some very strong psychic wounds that need healing. You have some strong karmic wounds that need healing, some trauma there, and it needs nurturing. Like you need to take care of yourself. You need to spiritually figure out what these wounds are, really get deep, do maybe some past life meditation, some therapy, whatever it is, to help you understand where your spirit, what happened to your spirit that brought it to this place where it's still a little bit torn. It's a little bit sad. But then once you're able to heal, you will find yourself in this position where you are able to choose happiness. You're able to choose healing. And maybe some of you out there are Gemini. Maybe some of you are out there like air signs, because we did get the Lovers a couple of times. But I think here it's like, this is telling me that there's like a fulfillment, like spiritually or emotionally you're being fulfilled. But there's also a choice to be made, because not only is the Lovers the card of choice, but so is the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords is telling us there's a choice, a decision that needs to be made, but you don't actually you're not seeing all the sides of this decision. Maybe for some reason you are ignoring it. Maybe for some reason you're ignoring the truth here that that is maybe causing this kind of discomfort. Whatever it is, there's a choice that needs to be made in this lifetime to help you heal, to help you be who you need to be. Again, there's a lot of abundance available to you, and you do need to take some time to nurture yourself and heal before you even start to try to make that choice. But that choice is going to come. And I think because this is a past life reading, that person from your life, from your past life, whoever that was in your relationship, they're going to return to you. They may already be in your life, but you may, I don't think that they are. And I think they're going to return to you soon. They're going to return to you very soon. And you're going to have to decide, whether or not to pursue that relationship. And you're going to feel it. You're going to feel the connection. You're going to feel the strength of it. You're going to feel that power, that tie that you two already share. But you're not really going to understand why you feel that for a while. You're going to need to take some time to suss that out. Be careful that you don't get overwhelmed with all the good feelings, with all the excitement, all that connection, and don't get overwhelmed with their money. I feel like whoever this is, they might be coming to you with a lot of abundance. They're again in that position of power. They're again in that position of riches, and you, I don't think you're in the same spot as you were in your past life, where you're riches are the root of all evil. I don't think you believe that anymore. But be very careful of letting that blind you and letting that keep you from being able to make the right choice. Because again, like she's wearing a gold blindfold, so it's possible that their money, their flashiness, their success is going to blind you from seeing the truth of who they are and what they did to you in your past life, because this is a big choice for you to make. And then the next card that came out is the Queen of Pentacles. So I do think that if you make whatever choice you make, you're gonna find that you're joyful and you're successful. But be very careful of letting your ego guide you in this. You really have to try to get in touch with your spirit, get in touch with your higher self. Use meditation, use divination, use whatever methods that work for you. Get a therapist. Because you are at risk of letting your ego and your desire for money or your desire for success overtake your spiritual growth, and that will set you back. So be very careful of letting new people come into your life, that you feel that connection with, without really taking a step back and trying to understand the situation from all angles, and not letting yourself get blinded by the flash, by the fanciness, by the honeymoon feelings, by any of that, because there's still this healing that you need, and this could help, bring that healing. But you do have to be very, very careful, because you're at a precipitous position. You could go, it could go positive or it could go very negative for you, based on whether or not you're able to heal, whether or not you're able to see the reality of your situation and of this relationship or this person, who might be coming back into your life in this lifetime. Be very careful, okay? But overall, even though I'm saying that, even though like I'm being very cautious here, this is extremely positive. Like, this person that's coming back into your life, they're bringing you love. They're saying, hey, I even if you like never met before they came into your life, they kind of know that they need to make it up to you, whatever they did in your past lives together. They're like, hey, I need to make this right. I need to make us right. And I don't know what that is or why, but I need to make you and I right. So they're like coming back kind of with apologies, or coming back to kind of help you find that healing. But unless you're able to see through the flash and see them for who they really are and see everything for what it truly is, then you risk being overwhelmed by it, and you risk losing part of your spiritual growth. You risk missing out on that. So be careful about that. But at the end of the day, it's very positive. It's very great. If you do choose to like to continue on with this person, to be with this person, I don't think that that's going to be the worst thing. But again, I don't know. That choice is really up to you to really see the reality and really try to understand what happened in your past life together. All right, and that is your reading for Tuesday, April 23rd, 2019. Thank you so very much for this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, let me know your comments, your questions, your coming into my Facebook. All of that just really, really feels great. It's like, it helps me to know that this is worth it, that I'm on the right path, and that I'm doing the right thing, and that people are actually getting help. If you are interested in learning more about Maiden Circle or me, check out the website below, the link below. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, the deal. And we have a group on Facebook, Maiden Circle Pagan Learning Collective, I think is what it's called. There's a group on Facebook. Come join us, join the discussion. Let's talk about your practice. Let's get to know each other. And I'll see you tomorrow. Remember always that I love you. Bye.